Why was this emperor overthrown by Catherine the Great? Hello and welcome to my series on the Romanov dynasty. Today we're going to talk about Pyotr Fyodorich, or Peter III. That's right, we're on the second row now. Originally named Charles Peter Ulrich of Schleswig-Holstein-Gottorp, Peter was not only the grandson of Peter the Great, but he was also a great-grandson of Charles XI of Sweden. His mother died shortly after his birth, and his father died when he was 11. However, his maternal aunt, Elizaveta of Russia, had just recently become empress, and she didn't have an heir of her own, so she brought Peter over to Russia to proclaim him heir. And get this, he was actually hotly contested for a few other territories. He was in line potentially to be king of Finland or king of Sweden, but he lost authority to these claims when he converted to Russian Orthodoxy. He also took the new name of Pyotr Fyodorich and became the Grand Duke of Russia. Elizaveta not only arranged for her new heir, but she also arranged for her heir's new bride. Peter's new bride slash second cousin was none other than a German princess named Sophia Augusta Frederica. She also converted to Russian Orthodoxy and took the name Yekaterina Alexeyevna, or Catherine. They married in the summer of 1745, but this was not a love match. Their 16-year-long marriage led to only one child named Pavel, or Paul. In terms of character, Peter was not the most popular. He despised all things Russian and idolized Prussia. In particular, he idolized Frederick the Great. He also became scarred after catching smallpox, and evidently the face matched the personality. He was said to be cruel, brutal, entitled, given to drink, and even tortured animals. He also idolized the military lifestyle. He would practice drills, he would wear uniforms, and he even supposedly played with toy soldiers on his wedding night. Catherine also wasn't too fond of her husband. She described him as an idiot and a drunkard. Russian historian A.S. Milnikov stated, Peter had many contradictory qualities, keen observation, zeal, and sharp wit in his arguments and actions, but incaution and a lack of perspicuity in conversation, frankness, goodness, sarcasm, a hot temper, and wrathfulness. Some, however, viewed him as a potential champion for enlightenment, because he wanted to bring Lutheranism over to Russia. He also wanted to introduce a mercantile class. And after the death of his aunt, he ascended to the throne during a very tumultuous time. Russia was still entangled with Prussia in the 7 Years' War, and Peter decided to withdraw Russian troops from Prussia. Not only that, he decided to sign a peace treaty. As you can imagine, that's quite the spit in the face for all the soldiers that were fighting to gain that territory. And this withdrawal of support also made Austria have to engage in negotiations with Prussia. Peter also then decided that he wanted to go to war with Denmark. But before he could successfully carry out that war, his reign of 186 days came to an end. His wife, Catherine, was gathering support from the Izmailovsky regiment. She then traveled to the Semenovsky barracks, where she was then ordained the sole ruler of Russia. When Peter awoke and heard the news, he tried to escape by boat and hoped that the fleet would still be loyal to him. But the fleet were no longer loyal to an emperor, they were loyal to an empress. He was eventually brought back to shore and then arrested and forced to abdicate. He was then moved to a secluded estate, and it was there that he died. The exact way in which he died is something of a mystery. The official cause of his death was ruled as hemorrhoidal colic, but this may have been Catherine trying to embarrass her husband in death. It's most commonly accepted that he was murdered by one of Catherine's supporters. He was then buried in a monastery in St. Petersburg. Don't forget to tune in next time when we talk about the one you've all been waiting for, Catherine II, or Catherine the Great of Russia.